your pastry, bakery, and quality food, CK Restaurant is the only place to be. We do catering for birthdays, weddings, and all related services. We have all kinds of local foods, American, European, and even beyond. Come and have a taste of our local juice, ebe, and other services. At CK Restaurant, customer satisfaction is our priority.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3, or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings, 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Islamic microfinance is becoming an increasingly popular mechanism for poverty alleviation, especially for developing countries around the world. This microfinance service adheres to the principles of Islam as a form of social responsibility. Yona Islamic Microfinance is the Islamic microfinance of choice in the Gambia, trustworthy and reliable. At Yona Islamic Microfinance, we provide savings products, current accounts, financing products in conformity with Islam. In addition, Yona Islamic Microfinance also offers local and international remittances, takaful fund, management of zakat, management of awqaf, trading and investment, and building of strategic partnerships to bring financial services to the doorstep of the poor with donor projects, madrasas, youth organizations, women groups, and farmer organizations. Make a choice with Yona Islamic Microfinance today. For more information on Yona Islamic Microfinance, call 377-2151 or 9832-151, or visit Yona head office at Tipa Garage, Bakote, or visit any Yona branch located countrywide near you.
welcome to this special interview. With me this afternoon, I have the Lord Mayor of Carnegie Municipality, Talib Ahmed Bensouda. Welcome to this special interview.
Thank you, Fatou.
Today, we're going to talk about a serious matter. Of course, those watching us, of course, been following the news cycle. The KMC, about a week ago, you announced that there was fraud that happened at the KMC. And before that, actually, we saw it on Freedom newspaper. And in fact, a lot of people said maybe that is why you came out to announce what happened. But we're going to talk about what really happened. The Gambians want to know what really happened. How did this happen?
Thank you, Fatou, and thank you for everyone watching. As you have rightly said, we had an unfortunate event at KMC, or unfortunate series of events. So about 4 weeks back, or 3 weeks back, time is going, a staff came to my office to report that there was fraud, according to him. I said, what kind of fraud? He said, well, the CEO and certain members of the Staff Welfare Association executive have gone to secure a loan.
Sorry, they're telling me there's a sound issue. Can you check the sound properly, please? If anybody's watching, let us know if the sound is okay. Okay, go ahead.
Right, so a couple of weeks back, a staff came to report that the CEO and a couple of staff have gone to take a loan on behalf of the Staff Welfare Association without their knowledge or approval, and he believes the loan was taken in order to undermine their upcoming elections, because the staff welfare hasn't gone on the elections for the past 7 years, which is against their constitution. And weeks before that, I did hear complaints here and there. I did hear there was an attempt to demonstrate against the current executive members. And I quelled that, and I asked the HR manager and the clerk to council to organize Congress for the staff welfare leadership. So I asked the clerk to council to be the chairman of the chairman of the organizing committee of the Congress, and I asked the HR to be the secretariat. So they are to come up with a new constitution and conduct elections. So fast forward to this report, the particular staff believed this attempt to take a loan was to undermine the new executive. So I said, okay, I would try to find out what was going on, and therefore I called the bank. The bank in question, the CEO informed me that indeed it was true. And I asked her, well, how did they go about securing this loan? And she told me, well, it's through a council guarantee, a council institutional guarantee. And this is where I knew something was wrong. Because in order to commit an institution or the council itself, you need the council's authority, you need the council resolution. Because if you default, it means then the bank will take the money directly from taxpayers' coffers. And this is the money we use to run the council and the money we use to provide services. So therefore, you definitely need the approval of the council. Furthermore, the council actually then needs the approval of the ministry. Because if the council defaults on such a loan, the government has to step in to ensure that council can operate. So I knew something was definitely wrong. Furthermore, I asked the CEO of the bank, I said, well, how much was it? She said, it's 12 million. I said, well, what was the land value? And she said the land value was 4.5 million. So that also raised more questions. So therefore, I summoned the directors. By then, the CEO was away, and the director of finance was sick on that Friday. And I asked the deputy CEO, how come this loan came about? And the deputy CEO said, well, he's heard the rumors, but according to the director of finance, he has been complaining for the past week that he has been tricked into signing a guarantee. And now he realizes that the guarantee is fraudulent after he saw the documentation. So over the weekend, I started doing my investigations, and we found out that they applied for this loan on behalf of 37 staff members, and 2 of these staff members are no longer working for the institution. One was laid off in January, the other one resigned around April. And the other 35 staff members we asked all wrote back in writing saying they had no knowledge that a loan was being secured in their name.
So, yes, yeah, go ahead.
So that's when we realized that this is a big fraud. We said, well, what's going on? So, I mean, this is how things came. I think most of the public know. But I was able to call the bank to ensure that the monies, because 10 million was paid to the landowner, 2 million was paid into the staff welfare account. So we realized that the landowner had withdrawn 2.4 million, leaving about 7.6 million in their account. And the staff welfare had withdrawn about 1.2 million, leaving about 800,000. So I had instructed the bank to ensure that the remaining monies that were left over should all be returned to the bank and frozen. So the CEO followed the process. Now I asked
the CEO followed the process
the CEO of the bank.
The bank, okay.
Yeah, so meaning there was an outstanding of about 3.3 million, which put the council at risk, meaning if something went wrong, the council had to pay that money. So I also asked the CEO of the bank, I said, well, how did you give them a loan without a council resolution? Because all seasoned bankers should know this.
Yeah.
She said, well, I did ask them for a council resolution. At first they resisted, but then later they brought me a letter addressed to you, the mayor, informing you that they were going for this guarantee, meaning you're in the picture. I said, well, that's news to me. I never received a letter. So later I said, maybe it was put in the records and the letter never got to me. So we checked in the records and realized the letter didn't actually exist in the records. Another person that was copied in the letter was the clerk to council. He also said he never got the letter. So it means the whole transaction was bogus. It was fraudulent. Attempt to withdraw monies from a bank or to receive money from a bank on behalf of people who did not know and guarantors who were not aware. So it was a bit shocking for me and a lot of people. So when we called the people involved, as the CEO and the director of finance, they immediately confessed, especially the CEO, and said she accepted all consequences that came from it.
So I want to go back a little. The process,
Yes.
the process of administrative process.
Yes.
The CEO is the overall head, right?
Of the
You are the political
administration.
head, and she is the administrative head of the council. If the CEO is transacting anything on behalf of the staff,
Yes.
naturally the mayor should know.
So
Would you know?
So there's two structures that are not related in this case. You have the staff association,
Yes.
who have monthly deductions from their salaries, and they elect their own executives to sort of manage their money on their behalf. So they are not really related
To the council.
to what the council does,
Yeah.
as far as they don't need money from us, as far as they don't need things like the guarantee from us.
Yeah.
But then when the staff welfare needs money from us, then the council is involved.
Yeah.
Because this is taxpayers' funds. If the staff welfare needs a guarantee,
Yeah.
meaning then the council serves as a guarantee. If they default, it has to come from taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
Then they need the council's authority. So the council in the Financial Audit Act is answerable to the parliament and the people for their finances, because these are taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
So we control how taxpayers' money is spent.
Yeah.
So if you want the council to guarantee you, you need the council's authority.
And you would need a council resolution for
Of
that.
course. So the mayor alone cannot do it. We have to call a general council meeting. All the councillors who are elected from the different wards would have to sit and debate and vote on the matter. And then that's a council resolution.
And that was never provided
That
for
was never sought.
That was never sought.
That was never sought. Even worse is, like I said, the letter that they wrote to my office, which is a letter that doesn't exist, just to trick the bank into believing that the mayor is aware. So I think these are all very, very serious things, and it shows intent. I mean, and just to take you back in history, this was not the first time they had asked me. They had asked me in 2020, the CEO especially, if the council could guarantee a loan for the staff welfare. And I told her categorically, no, that wouldn't be possible, because we cannot commit taxpayers' monies for staff. These are taxpayers' monies. People are paying their taxes because they expect services. So they already know our stance on this matter. So I think they thought they could get away with it without our knowledge.
You said something else here that was interesting, that the value for the land was 4 million.
So in the
And
land
the loan
valuation
is 12 million.
Yeah, so in the land valuation, there's two values. There's the forced sale value, sale value. I believe this is what the bank usually uses, meaning if you're rushing to sell the land and you have to sell it, the minimum value was 4.5 million. and the market value was listed as 7.5 million, but they went for a loan of 12 million. Right, so this is...
So when you discovered this, at that point, what was the first initial reaction? What did you do? Because a lot of us believe that you only came out because of the Freedom newspaper report.
Right.
Would you have come out to clarify this? Because the problem in Gambia, there are so many times that frauds are detected in departments and nobody comes out. And when I saw you came out, somebody like me, I commended you, and a lot of people say, why are you praising him? I said, no, it's not what they uncovered. It's the boldness to come out and say, yes, there's fraud under my department, and we're working to resolve it. But people said that didn't happen voluntarily. It happened because of media reports.
So I think there's an argument there in the sense that we have discovered 12 frauds since we've been in council. 12? 12.
Why are we hearing about just this one?
Exactly. So usually when fraud is detected, we usually do an investigation. And if it requires the police, we involve them. If it's a disciplinary matter, we handle that with the Local Government Service Commission. So the last fraud we had actually was a staff who went to a particular hotel and asked the hotel for $100,000. And if the hotel paid them $100,000, they would reduce the amount the hotel has to pay in terms of rates. So the hotel owner reported that particular staff in question, and we went through the same disciplinary process. We suspended that staff. We wrote to the Local Government Service Commission for their termination with all the evidences, and it was honored. So these things were dealt with without the public knowing. So in terms of institutions, and I'm sure you're very experienced in this, it depends if there's public interest in such a matter. Now, of course, during the time I invited the CEO with the other directors, and I told them what we had discovered, and they admitted and said they would accept all consequences that came with it. It was not of a public interest then. And I think it could have been dealt with. Disciplinary measures would have followed. If a police investigation was necessary or any prosecutions, it would have followed without us necessarily having to come out to the press. But once it became of a public nature, where everybody seemed to have known about it, leaks were coming out, and there was public interest, of course, as my obligation to the people of Kanifing, I have to come and clarify. I have to come and say, this is what has happened, so people can be knowledgeable about what has happened. So it's not that you always have to come out when these things happen. The important thing is that when they do happen, they are caught and they're dealt with. And with the KMC, like I said, 12 occasions now, when these types of frauds happen, we catch it and we deal with it. But if it becomes of a public interest, of course, we have to come out to the public and clear the air via a press conference.
So I do know that during my investigations that the council have reported almost about 10 cases to the commission, the local government commission, and recommended people to be, removed. And the council did act on those recommendations. So this time, it seems like a lot of people will say there might be procedural errors from the KMC. For example, the ministry yesterday in a press conference highlighted that the Local Government Act, yes, have given councillors the powers, because we all know that the council resolution is final and binding. And if council makes recommendations to the local government commission, local government commission, right? They can either accept or reject it, but the council has those powers. Why did the mayor write to the minister to inform him of the decision to send this the CEO on indefinite leave without the council resolution?
No, we had the council resolution.
Why did the date? The date on the letter to the mayor is to the minister was 22nd.
Yes.
And the council resolution was 26th. How did that happen?
So we corrected that. I think it was a typo by the secretary. So we did write back and said we acknowledged that it was a typo. So these events happened very fast, and they were happening in the public eye. So one would be very confused. Sometimes I look at social media, some are saying 24 million, 30 million. Some are saying it's taxpayers' money. There's no taxpayer money in this. This is a bank money that was guaranteed by taxpayers' money. So it was an attempt to withdraw money from a bank using false documents, using false authorities. And this is where we are involved as a council, because our authority was faked to get these funds. Now, as things were happening fast, I owe no obligation to the ministry to go and tell them this. But out of courtesy, I knew this was of a public nature now. I went to the minister personally to inform him that there would be a lot of news about what is happening in the council, but I don't want you to hear it from the news. I want to tell you personally exactly what has been happening and exactly what has gone wrong with both issues. So, of course, when I went there, I found the CEO waiting there for the minister, which was unusual. But I still went in and I talked to the minister. And he said, can you send it to me privately? Can you send me a letter with all the facts privately? But, you know, I don't think that's the right procedure. I did send him his own letter because that's what he wanted. But we still went through the right procedures, which is holding a general council, informing all the councillors that this is what has happened, put recommendations on the floor to be voted upon. And once the recommendations were voted upon, this is when we wrote to the Local Government Service Commission. And since the minister wanted his own letter, I sent him his own letter. So another thing is, I think it's very important also to be clear, since this is such a public case now. When I visited the minister at that point in time, he was hoping that this could be solved somehow amicably. But I told him, I don't think...
somehow amicably. How amicably? What was his exact goal? Because this is important.
Exactly,
because
exactly.
I think Gambia has been ranked about one of the most corrupt states.
Right.
We don't want to be branded that way. So when things like this happen, people want clarity. People want to know our public officials.
So I'm not one to repeat conversations I've had with people. But he wanted it to be solved amicably within ourselves, because I think the CEO was there. Maybe he might have felt sympathy. But for me, it's about legacy. I don't want to be labeled as a person who has run a corrupt council or a person who sweeps things under the rug. So this is what made me even want to go the further distance and ensure everybody is knowledgeable of what has happened. Because like you've said, corruption is something that is eating at every institution. KMC is no exception. I've always said it. KMC has a lot of corruption going on, but we have done a lot over the years to plug the gaps. Since I came into office, procurement was one of the first things I tackled to reduce the amount of leakage happening. We eliminated briefcase vendors, people who literally just come to the council, give a few bribes, and go to the corner shop and buy the item. We've come in to reduce waste, and we set up a committee, appointment and establishment, which is in the Act, which is very strict on detecting and squashing fraud. So in essence, the reason that I also came out and wanted everybody to be knowledgeable, to show our zero tolerance for corruption.
When the minister said, let's handle this amicably, what was your response at that point?
I said I can't.
You said I can't.
No.
But my question is, Talib, the local government commission, service commission, is the authority here, not the minister. The local government service commission appoints with the CEO.
Exactly.
And they have the powers to also relieve her of our duties.
Of course.
Yes, the commission is independent, should be independent.
Should be.
They are appointed by the minister.
Yes.
Yes, but they should be independent.
Should be.
But instead of writing or even having these conversations with the minister, it should have been with the local service commission.
Of course, I'm the first to agree on that. But when you're working with local government and central government, I'm always one to push for a cordial relationship. I'm always one to push for partnership.
Yeah.
I'm always one to show that, look, we can rise beyond politics and work together. So definitely, I did not have to go to the minister. I did not have to write to the minister, but it was out of courtesy. It was out of the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. I said, this is a line ministry. I think it would be a good idea if I told them. In hindsight, given the way things have gone, I might have not done it again. But I don't regret it, because I am a person who always works on collaboration. I like to work with people. I like to build something with the ministry. But the way things have gone has really showed me that maybe my spirit of cooperation is not shared by the other side. But the process is there's a local government service commission, who's supposed to be independent and not under the control of any authority. Through the members are appointed by the minister, but they should really have their own office. They should have their own secretariat, their own letterheads. This is something we advocated for when we came into office. But the ministry insisted that all letters to the Service Commission must be channeled through the ministry and addressed to the PS. And even the establishment committee cannot sign, the chairperson cannot sign. It should be signed by the CEO of the council and sent to the PS of the council. But this is not in the law. What the Act says is the Establishment and Appointments Committee should send all letters about staff discipline, appointments, etc., directly to the Commission. But this is not what has been going on. This is a system that they have imposed on us and saying this is a matter of procedure. It's not normal for the chairman to write directly to the chairman. And these are early fights we had. And in hindsight, I sort of knew it would get to a point like this, where you write to the commission and the ministry intercepts the letter and makes demands, or the commission will not respond. So I think we really need to look at decentralization and devolution of powers. A long time ago, the Local Government Service Commission was under the council and not under the ministry. It was after the act was amended and said now the Local Government Service Commission has to be unified and at the ministerial level. But I think these were all attempts to reduce the powers of council. Now imagine this, Fatou. If you, like your Kerr Fatou, you're the owner. Imagine you had a CEO, but you cannot appoint the CEO. You cannot fire the CEO. You cannot discipline the CEO. But you're responsible for everything that happens at Kerr Fatou. If Kerr Fatou succeeds, it's you. If Kerr Fatou collapses, it's you. But you don't have the power to appoint. So these are things that we've been advocating for a long time. It
brings us to the draft. Because if the draft has passed, all of these things would have been addressed.
Of course.
So, that's why, I've said this to the politicians, the National Assembly members, the draft is just something that is, the failure of the draft is tied down to everything in our society. Because this would have been addressed. The Local Government Act, things have been developed there. You guys had your contributions and it was reflected in the new draft. But then coming back to the issue, did the commission ever write back to you guys?
The commission has never responded. So the ministry has made demands and said you have to rescind your decision or the commission will not respond. And I think this is a gross overreach of powers. Now, I think sometimes the ministry forgets that we are elected officials. We fought very hard to be elected into office. We are not accountable to anybody but the people. And the representatives of the people, which is the parliament, is in the act. The ministry is there as a guide. The ministry is there as a supervisory body. At most, what they can do is say, look, we have observed that you have made certain errors or you have done A,
we
B,
can
C,
send
and D.
inspectors.
Well, the inspectors, I think there's ulterior motives as far as I'm concerned.
But that is within the minister's powers.
It's within their powers, and we have no problem with being
that.
inspected. And I always say, look, my office is open. I'm not under any false impression why I'm in office. I'm a public officer. I'm an occupant. I come and I will go. There's nothing that is private in my office. All the documents are for the preview of the public and for the interest of anybody who has interest in KMC, really. So really what I'm saying here is the ministry should guide. If we misstep, the minister has an option to call a general council. The minister can call a general council and give guidelines as to how we should operate. If we decide
can either accept or reject.
If we decide to reject, he can call another general council, which is section 151, and he has another list of options. So this country is built on systems. They might not be the greatest, but there's a system. The law has checks and balances. And I mean, there's courts. Even if there's a point where there's different interpretations of the law, council believes we have certain powers, the ministry believes we don't, he can also go to court. And then it will be settled outside of these various departments. So I guess what I'm saying here is I think the ministry should have just observed and let the commission do the talking. And it's happened before. We've done things in the past where the commission has written back to us and said, no, we think you should do this and you should do that and you should do that. But in this case, I believe why there's that extra interest
Why do you think there's that extra interest?
I mean, I've asked myself a lot, why is it that there's this extra interest with this individual? And I think, well, I went there and I found her there many times. And since then, we've had reports that she reports daily at the ministry. And I think this is even compromising the minister's position or the ministry's position. Because if you're to even do inspection, why would you be meeting with one of the accused parties on a daily basis? For example, we have information that when these people were detained by the fraud squad, the ministry called the fraud squad and asked for their release.
Can you verify that? I mean, we have heard that, but are you able to verify that? Because these are serious allegations.
Because when they reported to the fraud squad, we were put in the picture through sources on the ground that they have reported to the fraud squad. But they were released without condition, and they went to the ministry and they wrote a petition. So, and then that petition, if you look at the minister's letter, it was that petition that prompted him to write and said they are going to inspect us based on the petition.
That's where I'm coming in.
Yes, yes.
Two things here that baffles me.
Yes.
Number one, you asked why this case they're particular about it.
Yes.
I might say they're particular about it because they said the deputy mayor was also involved in the scandalous audio recording, which they believe the mayor has not addressed properly, but instead he is addressing this one because of partisan issues. And let me come in. And that might be a reason why the ministry is so much interested in this case. But number two also, what baffles me as an individual, the ministry is more interested in that case than this other case.
Right.
Does this show both parties playing political angle here?
I think they should be interested in both, and I think all of us.
Are you interested in both?
I am interested in both. So, okay, I just want to address something.
Yeah.
Since these things have come out in the public light,
Yeah.
people have been shouting and saying, "Oh, KMC is a corrupt institution. KMC is so corrupt. How can this happen?" I detected both of these cases.
You detected?
I, the mayor, detected both of these cases. If I, the mayor, was not interested, we would not have this interview. Nobody would know what was happening in KMC.
So the media had already reported it?
Because of internal wrangling and pushing and pulling, people were taking out leaks. So I did not have adequate time to address these challenges based on procedure before it leaked out into the media. Because when you find different accused and different alleged frauds, there's a push and pull, there's wrangling, and there's fights, and people start leaking stuff.
Okay.
So when I went to Freetown to meet my counterpart, Mayor Yvonne Akisoya, I came back and I saw a precarious payment to a company to the tune of $410,000. So I asked, I said, well, this payment seems strange, because we just had a contract with this company, and I don't think they have rendered any services to this date that prompts this kind of payment. So I asked for supporting documents, and I saw that there was none. So I saw the payment was bogus. Naturally, the person you would call is the chief executive officer. Yeah. Because they are the only ones who can make payments. I mean, the deputy mayor is there through and other councillors. But the only people who can sign and take out money is the chief executive officer and the director of finance. And they're accountable for all transactions in the council. That's why when we are called to parliament by the National Audit Office, they're the ones who are asked to talk. Because politicians cannot sign anything. Yeah. We don't have any signing authority. So when I asked her what this payment was about, she said, well, it's the deputy mayor who pushed me to make this payment. So when I naturally lose my temper in all issues of fraud. I'm a calm guy, but when it comes to fraud, I lose my temper. And I said, no, but I've always told you, even I, the mayor, cannot push you to make a payment that is illegal or fraudulent or not legitimate. You're the chief accounting officer. Unless you have a council resolution that says the council has directed you, because you're under the direction and control of the council and answerable to the council. That's what the act says. Unless the council directs you to make a payment, that is the only way you should make this payment. Well, she came over to my office with her husband. There was another man there who I was meeting with, and she said, well, Mayor, look, I have to tell you, it's the deputy mayor who was, soliciting some payment, and he's the one who pushed me to make this payment.
The CEO told you that?
The CEO told me this. And she said, look, I have a recording of this. This was in May.
In May?
In May. So I was like, well, that's incredible. But this was just in May. So I had caught them doing a transaction, or her, but her defense is somebody else pushed her to do this, who's also a high-ranking officer. So I have to take my time to detect what exactly was going on. So what I did at that point, I said, okay, now what we'll do is we will cancel this transaction. So I even called the owner of the company to come, who said he was also unawares. This was a payment that's been transacted between the CEO and the other CEO of his company, and he was not even aware of this transaction. So I said, okay, I will write a memo now. This transaction must be cancelled. You understand? So I wrote a memo to that effect. So the deputy mayor's case was a case that we are going to investigate, but it's not as simple as many people think.
So let me come in. This was way back in May. In May, she told you about this recording. And naturally, that's a couple of months ago, like months back. In fact, that was the first one you detected before this one.
Exactly.
Why are we hearing this one first? Even during your press conference, actually, my reporter was on the way getting there. When I heard you speak, I was not happy with the way you handled the deputy mayor's case, because you praised the deputy mayor, knowing what you know. You praised him being hardworking, but somebody who was already involved in something.
Deputy mayor's audio. It was not something I immediately could address because I also kept very close to my chest. The people in the room knew about it, and it was something I was going to get back to. So it was in the Ramadan as well. However, when we discovered the also issue of the CEO, both issues came to the media same time. So even the CEO's issue would not have been as fast. Even the CEO's issue would have followed due process, would have taken time, would have taken our investigations and whatnot. But once it became a matter of public interest, we had to move fast on both cases. So when I came to the issue of the deputy mayor, we confronted him, just not me, but one or two councillors, including members of the establishment. He denied that this was him on the audio. He denied that he can't even remember. And it happened at a time where his mother passed. His mother passed at this time, and he said, look, I am dealing with too much problems. I need time. And he actually appealed and said, I need 40 days until after the 40 days. And then after 2 days, when his uncle died, he said, I'm going to resign. So this is a person who, true, it does sound like his voice, but it's alleged until he denies it or is proven by an investigative committee. But with the CEO, it was accepted immediately and wrote a letter accepting her faults. You understand? So the deputy mayor is alleged. The CEO is something that is accepted. It's something that she confirmed. So maybe people are saying I should not praise the deputy mayor, etc.
Especially when you have uncovered something like this, even though...
Well, like I said, it's alleged, right? So what I was speaking to is his service to that time and speaking to what his resignation said. I think I owed him that little. His resignation said, I have resigned on personal grounds. You understand what I'm saying? So if somebody resigns on personal grounds, all I can talk about is, okay, well, you have served us, and we are happy to this point in time. But we did announce that we have opened an investigation against the deputy mayor. So, and we have now made sure that, because when we had a council meeting, councillors from different parties did ask and say, we do not think it should be dominated by any one party. We would like all parties to be represented. So we made sure it's a multi-partisan panel, and also that the chairperson is an independent person, which is an expert. So this is the panel we have set up, and the reports will be made public, and the recommendations will be brought to the council.
The CEO, the petition, obviously, the CEO said you told her to cover up because of political reasons. Did you say this?
You know, so when I heard it, it was so strange. But then I realized we're in election season, and of course that sounds good. And I mean, any reasonable person knows if a deputy mayor is caught in a fraud, how can that cost an entire party its elections? We're not talking a high-ranking member of our party. He's a deputy mayor of a council.
That is, deputy mayor is next to the
It's
mayor.
not.
That's really...
Well, he's next to the mayor, but
really
people do things, and the deputy mayor cannot cost an entire party an election. And secondly, what I'm happy about, when she did come to me, there were people in the room.
There were people.
There were people in the room. It was not in private. There were people in the room. And I don't talk like that generally. Fraud is fraud. If the deputy mayor commits fraud, he commits fraud. Now, of course, due to the sensitivity and the rank of the deputy mayor, there's a way to handle these things. Like I said, both cases, there's a way to handle these things. But they all came out in the media very quickly. And I felt it was my obligation to call a general council meeting because I don't want councillors to hear stories from outside. And I must give them information that I have. So we addressed both issues at the general council. But also we had to fast track both processes. One process was relatively easier, like the CEO's case. These are people who have confessed. You understand? With the deputy mayor's case is an issue where he has not confessed and it's an audio. It is not physical evidence of money being moved around. Whereas the CEO is physical evidence of money being moved around. There's paperwork. So with the deputy mayor, we had to set up an investigative panel to establish the facts. So this is why it is not as simple as people would like to think. And of course, we're the same party, so many people would assume it's because of politics is the reason we're letting him easy. But I assure you it's not.
Would you handle it if it was a different political party member differently? Because, I mean, a lot of people, including myself, from your press conference, that was the first thought.
I would have handled it the same. And, well, I guess now I have to say, there's been an issue where a member of a political party was suspected to commit similar issues in the council. But after our investigations, we were able to realize that it was not actually the case. So these are issues that have never come out in public. And if it was politically motivated, it would have come out in public. So like I said, these are internal issues usually that the council handles on a daily basis. But because of the high-profile nature of this, we had to come out and explain to the public because they deserve to know.
Would you commit that if the recommendations of the investigation do find the former deputy mayor from wanting, you will implement the recommendation?
Of course, and you know, I think there's also a misconception that the mayor is the council. The mayor is not the council.
Yeah.
The council is made up of 19 elected councillors, and I barely vote on council matters. We present the facts, there's arguments, there's debates, there's recommendations, and people vote in a very public way. And unless there's a tie, the mayor serves as the tiebreaker, and there's never been an incident. And the reason we made the deputy mayor's committee bipartisan, so the investigation can be known by all parties. There's APRC councillors there, there's PDOIS councillors there, there's UDP councillors there. So if the UDP were trying to somehow protect it or try to hide facts, the other party members are there, they wouldn't allow it. So the facts will be presented on the council floor. I as mayor don't have the decision to say whether this should be prosecuted or not. No, it's the council who will debate it. And it's the council that decides.
Now, now that the ministry has given KMC an ultimatum, the PS said they will apply the law to the fullest. Yes, you did allow inspectors to inspect, but you refused the former CEO, the CEO and other staff members to enter. The council refused.
So I saw the press statement, and I thought it was not a good press statement for many reasons.
Why?
One, it creates an atmosphere that there's somehow a fight or a tension between the Ministry of Local Government and the council. And
there is right now.
Well, there shouldn't be.
There is.
There shouldn't be. I mean, the laws are here for a reason. If you think a council has done X, Y, Z, you just have to read the law. And there's areas where the ministry can intervene. Everything is due process. We are not in a military state where you can say, by force this is going to happen, or I'm going to use force. It's a civilized country with laws. If you don't agree with the process that a council has taken, there are steps that the ministry can take to mitigate those processes. And I said the country has courts as well. If we feel that the ministry is using powers that they do not have, we have courts. We'll use a legal route. So the question here is, with what the press statement was saying, I think some of the facts were misconstrued.
Like which one?
For example, the minister said on the 3rd we would be visited by the inspectors. So they never came on the 3rd. We actually called a council meeting to welcome them. So they never came on the 3rd. On the 4th, they did not come up, which was the next day. So we received local government ministry officials on the evening of Wednesday at the deputy CEO's office, and they brought a terms of reference and said now they are going to send inspectors to investigate the fraud committed by the CEO, which is also contradicting the minister's letter, which said it was because of the petition.
Yes.
Now the inspection terms of reference said is the fraud the CEO committed, although they did throw other things in there, which is fine. You can inspect anything you want to inspect. But then they did not come again on Thursday. Thursday evening, I received 2 people who said they were inspectors, and they came to my office and said, well, we are yet to come, we are preparing. So we never received the inspectors. So I think, based on what the press statement said, that they came and we kicked them out. What happened was, the council has passed a resolution that the CEO should go on leave pending the outcome of the investigation. And the law says the CEO is under the direction and control of the council and answerable to the council. So if the council directs the CEO to go on leave, and then the CEO comes to the council with media, or the CEO says that she will go into her office by and force, what does that tell you?
It's because she got a letter from the ministry.
But the ministry has no legality to give the CEO a letter and say, go by and force to the council. Remember, the CEO is not a staff of the ministry. The CEO is appointed by the local government service commission.
That's where the problem is.
Yes. So
the commission is silent about the entire issue.
So the commission should be the one talking. The commission should be the one talking. And it brings me back to what I said to you. When this commission was being set up, I had concerns about their independence. I'm not saying that they are not good people, because they have actually ruled in favor of us many times.
Many times, yeah.
Right? And I trust the members there. But has the ministry allowed them to go on their own and independently do what they're supposed to do? I never trusted that that process was done, because I believe they should have their own office, they should have their own letterheads, they should have their own secretariat, and they should be able to communicate directly with us. And we can keep the ministry in copy. So we should be hearing back from the commission, and life would have been a lot more easy. But now if the ministry is saying the CEO directly, go work at KMC, even though the council has asked you to leave, it creates a crisis that doesn't need to happen. And I don't think we need to personalize this thing. It's not the mayor individually who said, CEO, go away. It's all elected members of a council. So I think if we follow the processes and what the law allows us, we can have disagreements, we can see things differently, but when we follow the process, things happen amicably and they self-correct. So I think the ministry should allow these things to happen and solve amicably. But if you release a press statement and threaten a council, you wonder what kind of country we're living in. If a ministry or government body can threaten another government body, so what's going to happen? Is the army going to come and fight with municipal police? I mean, it's just crazy. I think what we should see happening is, let the commission say, okay, KMC.
What happens if the ministry want to impose what they
it would be totally illegal.
Because they are going to, if they bring the police or the paramilitary to enforce, to make sure the CEO comes.
Did you hear what you're saying?
Well,
if the ministry brings the paramilitary,
because if the council police, if the council police refuses the CEO entry,
yes,
the ministry decides to bring the paramilitary to...
With what legality? So I think also there's a misconception here. The CEO, we did not say the CEO...
Are we having another impasse at KMC if that happens?
We are not saying the CEO cannot enter the premises. I think there's a misconception here.
Yeah.
When the council passed the General Council resolution that the CEO should proceed on leave, and the law says the CEO is in the direction and control of the council and answerable to the council. If you direct your staff, go on leave until we know what's what, or until we hear from these guys or that guy, and then you insist on come to work the next day, What is the point of a council? What is the point of a mayor? What is the point of all these structures? It's better we dissolve them. It's better we remove the councils completely and we just have structures that are all answerable to the central government. But the reasons we go for elections and we have the mandate of the people, if we direct you, whether you think it's right or wrong, you have to go. And then let the regulatory bodies and etc. use the different parts of the law to correct the situation. I think this is what a civilized society does, a society with processes and procedures. If you feel a body has done something wrong, you use legal instruments and correct it. So I think the press statement was terrible. I think it shows a very dark past of what Gambia used to be, where it was force and not law, where it was not about democratic structures, it was about the iron will of the people with the power. So what we don't want, this is new Gambia we say, we have to follow the democratic processes and what the law has allowed. You have quoted many sections. But I think the ministry did not even need to get involved. If the council wrote to the local government service commission, they could have simply written back and it would have been taken up at a council meeting.
Yeah, I believe this should have been between the local service commission and the council.
Exactly.
Definitely, that is clear.
Exactly.
That's what the law says.
Exactly. That's
clear.
what the law says.
That's what the law says.
Yes.
It should have been between the local
Exactly.
service commission
Exactly.
and the council.
Exactly.
But do you think all of this is politically motivated? Talib?
Of course. Look, I don't want to give you a long story or beat around the bush. We're in election year. In this letter, we said we are sending you on indefinite leave. The minister called me and said he's not happy because it seems like a disciplinary action. I said, well, Honorable, if this is a disciplinary action, it would have said suspension or we would have taken benefit. He said, yes, but you have reduced in your letter, you said all non-mandatory allowances must be removed. I said, okay, well, I can take that point to the council. At first, he wanted me to just write and correct it. I said, no. After I called him, I said, no, actually, I have legal advice. As a mayor, I cannot overturn council decisions. I have to take this matter back to the council. But when we took it back to the council said, look, mayor, let us use this analogy. If you catch a thief in your shop, or your employer who's in your shop is stealing from you, if you catch them red-handed, and the police are involved, do you tell your employee, man, keep working until the police investigation is done before you leave my shop? No, you tell the employee, can you leave my shop until the police tell me whether you're guilty or innocent? So the council said, no, we still want to keep them away from the office. However, we will return all their salaries, at full salary. So we actually took the minister's objection via a telephone conversation and did this adjustment. And remember, this is not somebody we are accusing. This is somebody who has confessed.
But I watched a video yesterday where she said she never accepted stealing or doing anything fraudulent. She said the process, if you know, she regret the process that she took. That's what the video she recorded yesterday at the gate of them.
So, I mean, we are not the makers of the law, and we are not the people who judge ourselves. That's why I let the people who are supposed to do the investigation, the fraud squad, the local government service commission, let the matter be solved by the people who should solve the matter. You accuse the minister of calling the police. Are you confident that the police will... No, I'm not saying that I'm accusing the minister. What I'm saying is... You said you alleged information that he called to let them go. Exactly. But so now, are you confident that the police will deliver a fair investigation in this case? Well, I think if the police did the investigation, I think it would be fair. You think so? I think. I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. And we have a good relationship with the police, Kanifing Municipal Council. Of course, there's issues of interference with the police. This is a history that has been happening in Gambia. But I think if they're allowed to conduct the investigation, I'm confident that they will do a proper investigation. We have faith in the police. And like I said, I don't have fact that the minister actually did it. I said this is what we heard. You heard, okay. But based on everything we are seeing and the fact that she's always at the minister's office, it makes us think that maybe it's true. So I think, Fatou, this issue is an issue really I don't like dwelling on.
Yeah.
It's an issue that I think should just be pushed to the right channels.
Yeah.
But I think corruption is something that has been eating at the core of our nation. When I came into office, like I said, I knew if I could not tackle corruption, there's no way I can succeed as a mayor. So we've been consistently looking at even how to go digital with our revenue to remove as much money from people's hands as possible. Because we know Gambia is a cash-based economy, but with cash, there's a lot of leakages.
Yeah.
So we are completely dedicated to see our revenue boost so we can bring more services to the people. When we came into office, the revenue of KMC was $125 million. 3 years later, we have boosted KMC's revenue to over $250 million. It's unheard of. We've more than doubled KMC's revenue just because we are able to plug many gaps and many leakages. It's by no far a perfect institution. It is also an institution with still many leakages, and we still have a long way to go. But if councils also had the power to hire and fire, if councils had the power to bring the capacity they needed, if they found people wanting to get rid of them, we would be in a better position than we are today. So I think, in a nutshell, this is a very unfortunate situation, but I think it's something that we have to accept because it does happen. What is important is how do we get out of it? How do we come from it?
So, Lord, you know, you know, a lot of people applauded you for your stance fighting corruption, and I included, and I still stand by that. But, you know, a lot of things came up also. People said, I was talking to somebody randomly, and the notion was Talib mungi fata buntay leke kay yep KMC taxna sax his favorite luñ ko buggee wara buggee KMC buggee wuñ ko noonu because buntay yep la fata ken mëna tuta lekka KMC buntu leke kay la woon. Why instead Talib si bopam mu ngi enrich family. Let me come there. Number one, is KMC legal services offered by your mother's firm? This is an accusation. Bohamne is everywhere. Your mom's legal firm is the one being retained by the council. Number one. Number two, also the insurance company that your family owns is the one that insures KMC vehicles. Is that true?
So I think first I'll answer your first question, which is, do I get a lot of flack and a lot of hate because I am perceived to fata bunte?
Bunte.
Yes. One time, one staff was heard saying, KMC ne hatut. And I asked one of the staff, I said, but KMC was known to not be able to pay salaries sometimes for 6 months. Since we came into office, there's never a time we're even late on salary. Salaries are paying religiously almost on the 25th of every month. I mean, if you receive your salary, why would you say ne KMC ne hatut?
Mochati?
Exactly. So the partying that was going on, the giving of different items for free, the doorways of eating money indiscriminately, those things don't exist anymore. KMC, when you come now, is a serious institution delivering services. And every day we are looking at ways to create more blockage, to limit the leakage or eliminate it. And this is where we need Gambia to be if Gambia wants to progress. The taxpayers' money should work for the taxpayers. And you cannot buy something for $1 and go sell it for $20. You cannot go into procurement and be overpricing things for a kickback. So these are many things that we have limited and many doorways we have closed. So of course, a lot of people are not happy with me.
But are you giving to your family?
Coming to the next question. My mother was the lawyer of KMC for the last 20-somewhat years. When I came into office in 2018, it was one of the first things I changed. Yes. So I actually had an interview, I think, with Paradise in 2019. Where I was asked the same question. And in 2019, I had the same answer. Our legal practitioner is Senghor. Yasin Senghor has been our lawyer since 2019. So in 2018, I saw the conflict of interest, and it was obvious. Even though my brother said, no, we can provide free services, I said, no. it's apparent conflict of interest. We have to change you. And we changed it via a general council resolution. It was not individually I who changed it. I presented the case on the council floor as a conflict of interest. And it was passed as a general council resolution that AB and Co must be dropped because of the apparent conflict of interest with the mayor. Takaful Insurance, I used to work for Takaful Insurance in 2010, and I used to come to KMC in 2010 and insure their fleet of vehicles. But when I came and I saw Takaful is insuring also a lot of KMC vehicles, we reduced those vehicles. KMC now has 5 insurance companies. True, Takaful is still a part of them, but a 5th. But they have been insuring KMC for more than a decade. When I was marketing manager of Takaful, I used to meet Commander, then the Commissioner of Police, and I used to insure the fleet of vehicles. So, I mean, it's easy for people to come and just pick things here and there. But what I've done is, since I've come into KMC, I've tried to be a public servant with a difference. I've tried to be a model for everybody who wants to aspire to be a public servant. Many people don't know, when I came into office, the mayoral car I never used. They wanted to buy a car for the deputy mayor because they said the deputy mayor did not have a car. I said, no, we have come to say we are saving taxpayers' money. So I gave deputy mayor the then mayor's car to use, and I used my personal car for more than 8 months. I used my black Durango, which I campaigned with. I know it was a car that was very popular amongst the youths. I used it for more than 8 months, just to avoid using taxpayers' money to buy a car. In one council, one of the councillors stood up and said, it is very embarrassing for us, Mayor, that as an entire council, as the entire people of KMC, we still cannot provide a car for the mayor that says Mayor 1 or KMC 1. I said, no, well, I'm very comfortable with my car. It's a good car. It's an expensive car. It's a car that I own and I bought with my own money, and I would like to continue with it. But they insisted. I guess it was to show me that, you know, they're happy with my work or whatnot. And they said they want to buy a car for me. So the car they bought was originally $4 million. When I saw the car parked at the office, I immediately felt guilty. I am the one going every day and advocating how do we make people's taxpayers' money work? How do we ensure the money our mothers are sweating for in the market are going to the right place? And here I am, now with a $4 million car. You can ask around. I returned the car, and we swapped it for half the price, a $2 million car. And it's the car I drive to date. The deputy mayor's car is bigger than mine. The CEO's car is nicer than mine. So we have done a lot that people don't talk about, and we have tried to show a lot of practice. Many people don't know that I never take my car home. There's not a day the mayor's car parks at my residence. The car drops me home and picks me up every morning for the past 3 years since I had the mayor's car. It drops me home and picks me up every morning. It parks at the mayor's office. So I want to show people that public office cannot be personalized. It's not yours. And when I started it, I thought, okay, maybe this is just me trying to set an example. But when I traveled the world, I went to Madison City Council. I went to a council called Massik in Belgium. I realized that this is standard practice. Public cars are not taken home. Public cars are parked in public offices and are only used for public duties. So go to KMC tonight on a Friday. You'll find my car parked there from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the driver will pick it up Monday morning to pick me up. And every night it will sleep at KMC. So I want to be a public servant that shows that, look, we have to make taxpayers' money work for taxpayers by eliminating leakages, by controlling the funds, by not exploiting our offices and buying and procuring things that we like. So this is why I thank God that I have a business that works very well. I have a business that I've had since 2014. It employs almost 30 staff. It's been thriving ever since. And my business is what gives me my lifestyle, not the council office. So I am proud of that, and that's the only way I could be mayor. That's the only way I could be mayor. I would never be mayor. I would never be a public servant if I could not earn enough outside public office.
So what is your relationship with your councillors?
The relationship with my councillors, especially the APRC ones, has been great. And there was a time when the UDP councillors would be jealous and say, Mayor, why are you closer to the APRC councillors than us? Because my relationship when it gets to council is not based on what party you come from. I like councillors based on what their agenda is, based on what they're doing for their people, etc. So my relationship with all the councillors has been great. And since I came into office, I have taught the UDP councillors to embrace members of other parties. So that's why when issues come, very rare do we have a conflict in terms of voting. Because we allow everybody to speak their mind, we allow everybody to state the facts, and we all vote on the facts. There was a time when my own councillors would have different ideas from me and vote against me. So the council is a council that is unified, and we've been really setting the pace, showing a politics of difference. We've been really projecting what Gambia can be, a unified people working towards one objective of a developed Gambia. So the relationship with the councillors has been great.
The 80,000 loan to councillors, people said that was to buy loyalty from the councillors. How did that come about?
No, so this is, like I said, when this whole mess started, it was, everybody was reaching for stories about KMC they could use to tarnish KMC's image or to make KMC look like an irresponsible organization. So we all know that 1/6s are things that are normal in government, especially when prayer times come. Advanced salaries are things that are normal in government. So advanced allowances have always existed in KMC. So councillors don't receive salaries, they receive allowances. So what happens is if a councillor is sick or their wife is sick or they have a tragedy or they have a problem that they need help with, they apply for an advanced allowance. So just yesterday, when the controversy started, I started researching and said, I didn't know this advance allowance was such a big deal. And I realized when you look at the 12 people who have taken advance allowances since 2020 January, 7 of them are from different parties. Only 5 of them are from UDP. Secondly, only 2 of them owe money. Both of them was 20,000. So these are deductions that are taken from their salary on a monthly basis. And nobody can take an advance allowance that you cannot pay for before your term in office is over. And this is something that has existed in KMC and most government institutions for a very long time. This is a thing that exists in my very own company. When a staff, we all know salaries are very low. Sometimes staff have problems beyond their means. And they say, look, can you give me a salary advance that can be deducted? So when I saw this story and they said, criminal salary advance scheme, I was like, what is going on? You know, so like I said, when the issue of the deputy mayor happened and then the issue of the CEO happened, there was just, because we're in a political year, an attack on the council. But I told one of my colleagues, I said, I've been here almost 4 years. If the most illegal thing that has happened in this council is salary advances for councillors, I thank God.
Well, the inspectors are coming. Are you worried that the investors might find something that has happened under your watch?
If they find something, I would blame the National Audit Office and I would blame the Internal Audit Department. We have an Internal Audit Department and the National Audit Office audits us every year. And I don't think there's anything that they would detect that those people did not detect. But if there is, I am curious to know, I want to know. Like I said, we are at the governance and policy level. I am the mayor, I'm the councillors. We don't sign checks, we don't run the administration, we cannot withdraw money. We provide guidance, we provide governance, we provide policies. We are policy makers. So for example, this loan of 12 million they were going to get, if that staff did not report to me, I would never have known because I am not in the administration. I do not sign checks. If there is not an audit report that informs me that there's something wrong, I wouldn't know. So if there's an inspection team coming, we are more than happy. I think we have to have it even more often. We are more than happy for them to come and tell us what the administration has been doing. So the CEO is the chief accounting officer of the council. also the custodian of all records of the council, signs all contracts, is the chairman of the contracts committee, is responsible for all the administrative processes of the council. So the only thing the council can do is pass resolutions and direct, do this, do that. This is the budget we have agreed on. This is how you should spend it. So we rely on auditors to tell us if something is going wrong, an internal audit department and the National Audit Office. So in a lot of ways, politicians are shielded from the administrators. So for example, we have a local government select committee that invites every council to parliament every year to review their audit report and their management report. The mayors are required to be present, but they're not required to answer questions or required to talk, because the CEO and the director of the finance are the ones who are accountable and responsible. So I think people ought to understand that the mayor sits at the council to supervise the administration on behalf of the council. But the actual work, the actual signing and the money spent is all done at the administrative level headed by the CEO. Yeah.
So today you gave us an update,
Yeah.
That an additional money has been recovered as part of the 12 million.
Yes.
Now outstanding is 900,000.
Yes.
How was that recovered?
So the bank informed me that they have recovered for the 2.4 million from the 3-point-something million that was outstanding, and 900,000 is left. So this is the update I got from the bank CEO, and I think the public deserve to know. So just members of the public, this is not taxpayers' money. It's not 24 million. It's not 30 million.
Yeah.
This is a 12 million loan issued to the Staff Welfare Fund on the basis of a forged guarantee from the council on behalf of staff who are not aware. So we had to step in to protect taxpayers' money, but no taxpayers' money has been taken to date. And the bank has recovered most of their funds with an outstanding of 900,000. Also in today's update, we wanted to give the status of the investigation of the deputy mayor. So the committee spokesperson spoke, who's a member of PDOIS. The chairman of the committee spoke, who is an independent person, not a councillor, not a member of any party, to update people that they have set up, and they have started their interviews of the different people who have come to testify, and they will make their report public. You know, so I think also, Fatou, I think for me, people should be very proud of KMC. You know, we could have had all these allegations, and these allegations come for every institution, and they go on social media and stuff. But nobody bothers to ever talk about this in the public eye.
Yeah.
Nobody. Nobody ever bothers to talk about this in the public eye, and we could have chosen that route. Because they're afraid what people will say. They're afraid if people will judge them. But I am more interested in the long-term legacy after I'm gone than what people think about me today. And these are some of the hard decisions we have to make. So KMC has always tackled matters of corruption with the utmost. And we did not want any different. Others, too, were more of a private nature, and this is in the public eye. But we have to tackle it nevertheless. We cannot run away from it. We cannot brush it under the rug. We cannot hide it. We talk about it, we address it, and we try to get to the bottom of it. So I think if every government department was like this, we would go a long way into curing the disease of corruption in this country. And it's in every sector, it's at every level. There's nothing absolutely you can do in Gambia without it meaning like johma. So we should not pretend that there's no corruption. Or we should not pretend that, oh, it's just KMC. We know it is widespread. It is in every government department. It's in every ministry. It is in every company. But if we allow it to become our culture, if we have this culture of silence around it, we will never see a Gambia that can develop. We will never see a country that can benefit our children. We will just be fooling each other with false political promises and thinking that Gambia is going to somehow improve by itself, but it will not. We have the power to fix this country or not. And one of the things eating at the very core of this country is corruption. Corruption, what it is? Many people think about the word and think very, maybe huge, but what it is the loss of value.
Yeah.
It's the loss of value. $10 ibu wara samba tali. So for $1 $5. Tali bu jar $5 nga am.
Yeah.
Feka munon nga am $10 tali tay. So gaining of a $5, meaning the league you need double the time for $10.
$10, yeah.
So feka adna bangen now, the world is traveling and moving at warp speed, leapfrogging. Countries need to bante league.
Yeah.
They develop advance. We all now want to live in the Western world because it's comfortable. Everything is there, everything is available, everything works. But if we keep extracting the resources, putting it in our private pockets, how can the country develop? So there's always a joke that, you know, there's so many story buildings and so many developed buildings, but no roads.
Yeah.
Because there's no money going to the right places. So corruption is this disease that Gambians have come to accept. And it's not this time, it's been here for a very long time. But we all have to find the courage and find the bravery to talk about it, to face it head on, and to solve it one step at a time. And I think what KMC has done here should be commended. We did not shy away, we did not hide. We could have let people talk about it and say, oh, it's just a rumor. But we attacked it head on. And, you know, to a certain degree, we're a bit disappointed because people seem to now vilify people who talk about corruption.
Yeah. That was going to be my next question. Yeah. Would you do this again if something like this happens in your council again, considering what is going on right now, having issues with your line ministry and getting attacked on social media and everywhere, and people really, really scrutinizing you, your family and everything. Would you do it again?
So, if I could not be Talib Bensouda and be myself and follow what I believe and follow my values, I cannot be anything else. So if I cannot be real with being mayor, if I cannot be as the person I am and doing what I'm doing, then I would rather not be mayor. I would rather pursue other things. So just because I want to be liked, just because I want to stay in a position, wouldn't make me lose myself. It is something that I would have done over and over and over again as far as I am mayor. And until the day I realized that, look, I don't like this thing anymore, I don't like how people are treating me, or I don't like the limelight, then I'll bow my head and step aside. So I am famously known during my campaign to say, Solen masanile karta, wala ngeen ñaka masanil karta. Either way is okay. Suma neke mayor, man ñaka neka mayor, santana yala both sides. Because Maneke mayor is a prestige.
Yeah.
Come right now, I am very privileged to be somebody serving a large number of people. I am very privileged to be a person that Gambians are looking up to develop their lives and bring change. Cherbobu mom, dumoko musa regret.
Yeah.
But at the same time, being mayor is a sacrifice. I don't have time to spend with my family as much as I would. I don't have time to spend on my business, building my private pockets as much as I would. So what people fail to see is the opportunity cost, the opportunities I have left, the life I have left to serve the people. So a lot of people don't understand. Because for many people in this country, being a politician is an upgrade to one's lifestyle. I mean, I don't want to talk like this all the time, but I think it's people deserve to know.
Yeah.
My private car is better than my mayor's car. That's why I don't care what the mayor car is about. And like I've said, with the lifestyle I want to live, if I could not provide for myself, I would never go into politics. But I think, Fatou, we need this different type of politics in this country, where you go into public office and your focus is the massaf. Man might choose this path. Path is sacrifice. Don't want to do a public office and your number one goal is to be wealthy.
Yeah.
Public office all over the world, public servants are the lowest paid.
The lowest paid.
Could do a public servant, that's what it means. You're a servant.
Yeah. When you ran for mayor, you were the youngest person.
Yes.
You are still the youngest person elected, and so many people endorsed you, embraced you, and wanted certain qualities see you because luñ bëgg proof rek ndaw tam mun na jité, and the legacy, li nga war a bàyyi dafa important pour ëllëg ndaw yi nga xam ne dañ bugg a jël sa path ban legacy la Talib bugg a bàyyi fii when it comes to good governance, when it comes to tackling corruption, when it comes to good leadership, because ni ma ko waxee as the youngest mayor elected in this country a lot of young people suñu waxee ñu ne xay Talib su ko mënee def mun naa koo def waaye Talib lan la fi bàyyi am na solo pour xale yi mun a xool lan la fi Talib bugg a bàyyi.
So first of all, I will tell you Luther Dugasi, and I will keep my story short because politicians we talk.
Yeah.
When we were trying to remove the former president here, and I think many Gambians supporting the candidacy of Adama Barrow, I joined a group called Gambia Has Decided. That was my first ever engagement in any sort of activism or any sort of politics. Man, I'm a businessman at heart. I like business. I've been doing it since I was 19 years of age. Maneke 19.
We don't like business. A lot of people don't like businessmen, politicians, like Donald Trump.
So when I was 19, I started a painting business, Fekamangineka, Canada, and I had 12 staff. That was my first taste for business, and I loved it. And business, you make your money, you spend it how you like. Kendula haras, yako mom, yako ligi. Since then, I've had a series of businesses. But in 2016, you know, I came home in 2011. I'm a buga dika Gambia. I want to be close to my family. I want to be close to my mother as Munyemak, ma fekeko. And I just wanted to be home. Dika bi, feel like jogi, feel like musa comfortable, feel like musa neka, kuma muna neka, or the most I can be.
Yeah.
So 2016, Maduga Gambia has decided, okay, Yajame has to go. Okay, banya, lose na banya, nakala nyode. So that was the first time I actually engaged in any sort of politics, to be honest. And the rally of Adama Barrow in Bakau is the first political rally I ever attended.
Wow.
And probably the first T-shirt I ever wore of a political party.
Wow.
Even though my family has always supported the UDP, and before then the PPP. But you know that most of PPP are now the UDP.
Yeah.
I entered into sort of politics, and I got a taste, and I said, look, I think I can do a lot if given the right opportunities, but I didn't know where to start. But the reason that I really got into it, dama talk money, man's money 65 years of age, o mawaja de, feka mangi amon this urge bu maneke hali, na musa rechu, ma dem bem mak, mane luta amuma fit bi, ma try rek ma def luma mun pour yobus ma deka kanam. So this is what pushed me into politics. And the first thing I targeted was a member of parliament, because I wanted a position that I can balance my business, family, and politics with. And I thought parliament would allow that balance. But I was late to apply for the UDP. So the next thing that I was encouraged to do was to go for councillor of Kololi. So okay, let me go for councillor of Kololi. That seems also like a part-time gig. But then I had this very influential uncle of mine, Uncle Kutubo, who really looked at me as a son and said, Talib, with all your capability, I think you have to go for higher. But I said, well, what? He said, Mayo. But Mayo, Mayo looks like an old man job. I am a young man.
Yeah.
And he said, no. Them all for Mayo. Trust me, you can do it. You can win and stuff. So I took his advice. So this is how I sort of went through this journey and became the mayor of KMC today.
Now, and what would be your legacy?
So my legacy for me is a brand that, you know, we have to build this country. And we have to build it on firm foundations. Everything about my politics is a vision and achieving it. Even if you look at my concepts from the Mbali truck, from all these other projects, it's about a big vision, creates jobs, creates values, has sustainability. I want to be remembered as the can-do person, the person who can create. And as young as I am, a person who does not have limitations based on what they can imagine. So my whole candidature has been about inspiration. Because as a country, we need to inspire, we need ideas, we need to think. So I have this American friend, Samba, he tells me, Talib, Samba Balde, he's the state representative in Wisconsin. Minema, Talib, you know why Gambia is not moving? Maneko, why? Minema, because Gambians are not thinking. Maneko, what do you mean? Minema, do you know thinking is a process. You actually have to take time out of your day and think and say, what do I want to achieve? How do I conceptualize it? How do I go from vision to making it happen? And with that thinking, you can do a lot. So since he said that, I started thinking about it properly. This is what I am about.
Yeah.
I sit and I say, I imagine KMC to have good roads, rapid transit, organized markets, jobs, vibrant community, youths going to the beach, going to nightclubs, jobs everywhere, parks and recreation. And then I have these resource constraints and limitations on my powers. How can I manage and bring about and conceive and bring about all the resources and tools to make this happen? So albeit it's been extremely difficult, especially with the conditions we're facing, with limited resources, lack of subventions from government, lack of powers to bring the human resources we need. But I say, I will try every route possible. So when we face regulation problems, we say, okay, how do we beat it? Let's go for public-private partnership model. When we face resource constraints, how do we beat it? Can we get private capital interested or involved? I have staff that I cannot change or I cannot. How do I inspire them? How do I capacitize them? We have corruption issues. Okay, carrot and stick. How do we make them believe in something greater than them? Something bigger than the little monies they're getting from different departments, so they can buy into this vision, to this concept. So we've been trying to push KMC in that direction. It's been an uphill battle, but I think if people are to be honest, where we found KMC in 2017 and now is a remarkable difference.
There's been a lot of difference.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of development, markets. You go to Westfield, you look at the outlook, you're amazed by that. You're like, yes, this is what we want the council, the KMC to look like. But there's still been some areas that almost 4 years into you being in office, we still have areas where you cannot pass during rainy season. The roads are still crazy. It's bad. What is council doing? How can council help tackle these issues? These are serious issues.
So let me give you some perspective. So council's entire budget is about, let's say, roughly $250 million from $125 million. That's about $5 million. Now, the infrastructure needs of Combo is probably in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So councils haven't been built over time to have the resources they need to build heavy infrastructure. So then, a huge challenge. How can we fix this gap?
But we have seen you. Private partnership when it comes to the Mbalit project.
Exactly.
Is there any way you can...
So with roads, it's difficult.
It's difficult.
Because roads are free. Most roads. How can you generate income from roads? So roads is an expense. It's an investment for the future. But the returns are not monetary. The returns are economic impact or quality of life or things that you cannot count. And things that will not directly come back to the council. So the benefits are indirect, and they're called social external benefits. So with roads, what you need to do is you need to work with central government, and central government is best positioned to fix this, and they can work with councils. Can we raise bonds internationally, long-term bonds at cheap rates, to invest in our road infrastructure, knowing that maybe in a decade's time, because of the increased economic activity, taxation would increase. And we would get these benefits indirectly from economic activity, and we would be in a position to pay for these bonds. Secondly, councils are very limited in terms of the revenue they're getting. We're only allowed to charge business licenses, property rates, and market duties. When all over the world, councils do so many things. They get so many revenues, including sales tax,
even casino,
utilities tax, casino tax, even hotels, they pay councils per bed. So their revenue sources are so wide that they have the ability to invest in these things. But in Gambia, it's still very limited. We want heavy infrastructure. And even central government have constraints. So they also have to rely on international partners. But I think there should be a bigger vision for Gambia. There should be a Gambia we want in 20 years. A Gambia we conceptualize in 20 years. And we invest in it today. Knowing throughout the journey, we will have the needed resources to pay back any loans. Governments now are working on loans. Governments now are operating on bonds. Even the US government, it's all run on debt. But you need to create the institutions. You need to create the systems. So when you take those debts, you can invest it in the right place, get your returns, and pay it back. So that's another thing also the Gambia is not doing. We're not investing in our institutions. We're not building the structures. We don't have the human capacity we need to build the Gambia of tomorrow. So I think this country needs a larger vision, and we need everyone to buy into it, regardless of political parties. And KMC is ready to buy into any vision. We are actually seeking every day, how can we work with government?
But then, like, considering this relationship with your line ministry, are you able to get any support or work with government? Because central government should be working with the local government. With this relationship, how is the working relationship right now?
I think the relationship can be salvaged. I think this is one incident.
Yeah.
However, I must confess that in the past, we have sent many concepts that have fell on deaf ears. I've sent the KMRNP concept, which is the Kanifing Municipality Road Network Project. Never got a response. I've sent the Car City concept, which is a concept to take all the mechanic garages and all the car salespeople and take them to an area where they can do the business, and we call it Car City, and they pay rent. It has fell on deaf ears. I came up with a concept where we can create a boulevard, a tourism boulevard, from Sting Corner all the way to Senegambia, where all it has is tourist spots, walkways, leisurely areas, proper lighting, parks, recreation, where families can walk and tourists can come to and create economic activity. It fell on deaf ears. So it's not for a lack of trying, and we will never give up. As far as I'm in public service, for me, this is not personal. Even these fights, I mean, they're not personal. Once I leave office, I can call anybody. Because I guess the arguments are because I am mayor or I am from a political party, but not because I am Talib Bensouda. So I can compartmentalize these issues. I have tried many times to even do something with the president for the sake of the people of KMC. For me, I don't believe you need to corner your development so people can love your party or love you. I think God rewards. If you do it with a clean heart, if people see that actively you're trying to make their lives better, regardless of who you're partnering with, I think they will genuinely see that you're doing the right thing and you will genuinely have their support. So it's a politics of people, not of parties. We practice a politics of people, not of parties. At the end of the day, we are all in this because of the people of the Gambia. Green is not a religion. Yellow is not a religion. Gray is not a religion. It's just a party.
Yeah.
It's just a party. It's an idea. What should be a religion is the welfare of people, is the welfare of Gambians. And I think as far as all politicians follow that, there will not even be squabbles. There will just be different ideas and ideologies. But it's no need to get personal or nasty.
Finally, before coming to this interview, I just spoke to someone and he said, Talib Bensouda dafa buga jay dole. Talib Bensouda dafa buga jay ne man may domi Ami Bensouda Gambia. Is this what Talib portrays at work? Is in your public office, in your interaction with people? Because that's the notion.
Absolutely not. And I think you just need to ask around. I am the calmest person you will ever meet. I am the friendliest person. People say I'm too friendly. People say I'm too trusting. People say I'm too open for a politician. So I'm struggling. I still cannot be a politician. I still cannot change to be what you need to be to excel in politics. I cannot be two-faced. I cannot throw people under the bus. I cannot say things that I don't believe in. So I think whoever said that, I wouldn't blame them. You know, sometimes you judge and you misjudge. I think they just don't understand me. I have principles, I have values, and if I believe in something, best believe I will fight for it. It's just my values.
And you're going to fight to make sure that the council resolution right now stays?
Well, council resolution is not a principle. It's not a value. It's a law.
It's a law.
Yeah, it's
And
not
the
me.
law, and the law stays.
It's not Talib Bensouda. It's a council resolution. Well, law stay.
Law stay.
You know, so like I said, we've just said the CEO should go on leave. We do not say she cannot enter the premises. We cannot say she cannot work with the investigators. I mean, it's a procedure. So if the ministry believes it's a procedural error, or the local government service believes it's a procedural error, it's correspondence. It is due process. It cannot be force or threats. I mean, then what kind of country do we have? Where we threaten each other instead of talking to each other. Then it becomes warlords, and who has the biggest gun wins. Then we lose our country. We lose the principles of democracy. So the issue is, if somebody believes it is me, and this is what I want to move from.
Yeah.
I have nothing personal against the CEO or any personal against anybody. This is something I detected, I reported. Of course, I'm always angry with fraud. I cannot stop being angry at fraud. It's something that has to be investigated, but it's a council decision. Now, the Local Government Act is there. If the ministry believes it's wrong, I think the minister should not even have written. He should have just activated this section and came and given us guidance. And it's not just Talib Bensouda listening to that guidance, and I think this is where we also personalize governance. You should talk to the council. I can arrange a council meeting. I will always invite the media because we are open and this is a matter of the public. And then you say, look, you have done this, but I want to give you guidance to follow this process. And then the councillors decide they want to do it or they don't want to do it. And then there's another provision in the act about the next step the minister has to do.
Yeah.
But like I said, it didn't have to get there. This is a business with the Local Government Service Commission, and I think it could have been solved with the Local Government Service Commission, who is their mandate.
Yeah.
So the minister, I went to him out of courtesy, out of respect. But I think it might have been misconstrued that I'm seeking permission. I am not seeking permission. Like I've just said in the previous topic, I want to work with them. I am not seeing them as NPP or different just because I see them as Gambians who have the mandate of the people just like me. So I have to work with them to bring good things for Gambians. December 2021, Gambians will decide who wins and life continues.
Yeah.
So for me, politics is as simple as that.
Finally, what's your message to the Kanifing municipality residents? A lot of people are worried.
Of course.
I mean, there's been a lot of rumors, 20 million, 24 million.
Yep.
Talib is corrupt, the council is corrupt. There's
Yep.
so many rumors out there. What is your message to the residents of the Kanifing municipality?
So to the people of the Kanifing municipality, first of all, I want to tell them that the council is under control. The council is not in crisis. Our workers are going to work every day and trying to serve you. Second of all, I want to tell you that the Kanifing municipality or the Kanifing Municipal Council is not a corrupt institution. True, there's corruption, there has always been corruption. But since we took office, we have plugged many gaps. We have eliminated as much corruption as we possibly can with the powers we have. And we have a zero tolerance for corruption policy. To the people of Kanifing, I also want to let you know, I am by no means a corrupt person. I am not interested in taxpayers' money. I have my own money, I have my own business, and I earn way more than I earn in my business than I do as mayor. And I am here purely to serve you. I am here purely to give you a better life. It is for you to decide whether my work is good or not good. And to the people of Kanifing, generally, there's not been any taxpayers' money taken. All the money that we are talking of is from the bank. My moves and my steps have been to protect the taxpayers' money. If I did not intervene, I guarantee you, the co-conspirators would have defaulted on the loan, and then taxpayers' money would have been used and would have been lost. So everything I did was to save taxpayers' money. In the issue of the deputy mayor is an issue that is being looked into. It is by no means an issue that anybody tried to brush under the carpet. It's an issue of concern, but it's an issue that we have decided to deal with through the council and appointed an investigative committee. But generally, I want to talk about politics. I think Gambians misunderstand what politics is about. Politics is about ideas, is about a belief of how a country should move or how a country should run. Politics is not a tribe. Politics is not a religion. Politics is an idea. But ultimately, all these ideas are for what? Is how do we develop Gambia? All these ideas are how do we move this country forward? How do we provide a better quality of life for our children and our grandchildren to come? If we agree that we want to develop Gambia, we want a Gambia that's prosperous, a Gambia that's reaching for the stars, a Gambia that joins the most developed countries in this world, then we should have no issue with somebody's idea of how to get to that Gambia. So please let us treat each other like brothers and sisters. Let us be civil. Let us not insult. Let us embrace each other as Gambians. And all foreigners here, let us embrace them like they embrace us when we go to their countries. If a foreigner is here, as far as they're being productive, as far as they're abiding by the law, we should embrace them and treat them as such, because we are all over the world just like they are here.
Thank you very much, Talib. I think that is a very strong closing remark. We want to thank you for talking to us. We will also reach out to the other parties. Senabu, the CEO, is a colleague of mine who I worked with in Gamtel. We will reach out to her to hear her side of the story. But of course, the ministry, we will reach out to the permanent secretary just to get their reaction as to some of the things that you have said here. Like I said, I believe this should not be between the ministry and council. This, the law says, should be between the local government commission and the council. Because the commission has authority. The KMC should write to the local government commission. I am not a lawyer, but I do speak to lawyers, and I do know that's what the act says. I think this should have been solved amicably, but we hope it's solved. We don't want to see another impasse at KMC.
There will be no impasse.
We don't want to see another impasse, but we will definitely reach out to the CEO and also to the ministry. Thank you very much for watching, and good night to you all. See you again. Bye-bye.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan, Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loolu lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba la ka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi defee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw fii ngeen di ñëw skincare plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skin care products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentee tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skin care mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye, the whole range, Lighten Up Gold, Tomatine. I mean, the list can just go on and on and on and on. Lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox. Skincare Plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes, you know, fragrances, men's shirts, accessories. We do dresses as well. We do blouses. I mean, we do shoes. Name it, we do them. Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection. Zero task. Fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task. Kenn waratu fi am problème kanam. Kenn waratu fi am problème picca. Boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii.
Love, love, love like fire. Bring my you're good, my fine. Love, 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 love like fire.
I get it.
Mbijan aganya.
Albaka.
Mbaka important.
Yo, nga transfer la sto.
Ya transfer la sto.
Ha, code nyingi.
Okay. Kosa. Nsila ID soto.
Ah, sa soto. Sorry. I get it.
Mbijan bro.
Albaka.
Mbaka.
Bara alla service o tariaka.
Ah,
mbale. Mo ki janna nun kunu bara tariaka.
Ah, jannom yona forest de bureau. Gambia tonkon na no mbali ya bere. Ha. Birin koyna fo kato.
Bari si kodo kino kato nim fo bolong blabe to.
56 branches mola soto Gambia jang.
Ha?
Ha. Gambia kono anin Gambia bantala bankol. Nka kodo kiya bere. Kodo sifa fo falindiro fo nyaadi lafta memmen na kodi to poto nin kodi maraw. Jannam number 1 di nyonta. Andum fana nata anoda enterprise sotale. Wala nyindi ko domorol fana kol fana be firale de dadi ma nin domorol ni fana beteat. Gambia dawda yalo ma fa kendol sotale je.
Ha e wo moyo diat ha.
Apelenta
ni mo ba ni lafta nyelen kendol e bina.
Yalo bu kanyi la ko la baraka ba.
Yalo ndel chosano lo.
Abaraka.
We live in a day and age where technology is creating a world without borders, filled with unlimited potential to improve the lives of the people around us. Innovarex Global Health ushers in a new way of leveling the playing field with increased access to quality healthcare services delivered at your doorstep. Our qualified professionals are equipped with state-of-the-art point-of-care testing technology to conduct tests such as kidney function, liver function, electrolyte tests, body composition, hemoglobin, A1C, and many more services with the highest efficiency in delivering results. The addition to our flagship Wellness on Wheels, more fondly known as WOW Delivery Service, brings the entire clinical experience full circle. IGH has remained committed to creating the future of healthcare delivery. Gone are the days of sending loved ones outside the country for basic medical services. Innovarex Global Health offers a new peace of mind and takes pride in delivering the quality of care we all deserve.